Influencer marketing is a little bit of a buzzword right now. All of the marketers are trying to use it and kind of squeeze it into their marketing campaigns for artists. And you can totally see why, because it's really hot right now. You see on the news all of the time about how influencers are making so much money, or how some startup managed to launch their product through an influencer campaign. And marketers know that word of mouth is the strongest form of marketing. So influencer marketing should be the perfect solution, because influencer marketing is initiating word of mouth. You're initially having a person of influence talk about a track, and then people who trust that person will then go and tell their friends about the track because they've heard it from an influencer, and then a track starts to get talked about from there. But some influencer marketing campaigns have been so successful, some of them taking emerging artists and blowing them up, and some artists have even managed to get in the charts through an influencer marketing campaign. However, as influencer marketing has grown, there have been some growing pains which have caused issues within the industry and made it more and more difficult to implement these successful campaigns. And the first one is simply just making the post look authentic. So influencers, when this first started, would take the money and be able to create something that looks completely authentic because it is a unique opportunity to them. Now, because influencer marketing is such a buzzword, everybody wants to use them. So they are literally getting 10 emails an hour from companies just offering them money to promote their product. So when they do accept a track and are going to promote it on their Instagram stories, their audience has learned what an ad looks like and what is not a promoted post. And they don't put as much effort in because they get bombarded with so many requests every single day that it doesn't really matter what they do. So when they first started, it would be a unique opportunity for them, and they would think about how they are going to advertise the artist and create something unique but as also authentic to what they would normally post. And now, because of the demand of various companies where they are insisting that their brand is shown in a specific light, they are expecting a brief from all of the companies to tell them exactly what they need to do. And the companies love this because they don't really understand what influencer marketing is about, and they just give a brief and give exact directions and exact scripts, and it makes it look so inauthentic, or is it unauthentic? And it just makes it look like an ad and paid placement. So people who are viewing the Instagram stories know just to skip past. And I think this is okay for companies because they are still getting that brand awareness. Even if someone didn't swipe up and make a purchase, it is still worth something because it's brand awareness and they are still sponsoring their favorite influencer. And when they do see that brand, they might go ahead and make a purchase. Or perhaps the influencer has a discount code where it is worth getting that 20% off of a product that you might have bought anyway. And then you take the 20% and then the company gets their purchase. But with music, it doesn't really work like that. With music, you're just looking to get the stream or get someone to be aware of you as an artist. But getting more streams or getting more Instagram followers, you don't get your money back straight away. There is no easy return on your money. So it does make things more difficult when things don't look authentic, because all the audience is really doing is seeing the post and skipping past it. And now things have got even more difficult because in Europe, you have to state whether something is sponsored or if it's an ad. You can't put product placement somewhere without disclosing the fact that this was a paid post, i.e., the post would not have existed if this company had not paid for it. Therefore, your track shoutout has to have hashtag ad in it or being disclosed as a paid partnership. So you either have hashtag ad somewhere, or the influencer will use the hashtag ad GIF or something like that. And it's very, very obvious that that is one of the posts that needs to be skipping. So that has also kind of ruined the industry a little bit, especially for music, because like I said before, you don't get those instant returns. And with music, It is something that people want to discover on their own. They don't want to be promoted to or advertised to go and listen to a new track. They want to hear it on the radio or Spotify playlist or something organic. So all advertising does need to be organic. So if someone has paid their favorite influencer for a track shout out, they are very unlikely to listen to it because they know it is sponsored placement. And you've also got to choose the right influencers, because a lot of marketing companies are choosing the wrong influencers that fit for that genre. So what tends to happen is you've either got the artist or the label or senior managers who are putting pressure on these companies to get results and get those numbers up. So they will be asking, what are the reach figures on this influencer marketing campaign? How many influencers have given it a shout out? How many are secured and how many are going to give it a shout out? So what ends up happening is it becomes a numbers game, and they don't look at exactly where the money is being invested. So if you go and take a rocker and get them to give a rapper a shout out, it's just not going to work. You need to have a perfect fit and understand the audience. So when doing influencer marketing, you really have to understand the audience and have a look at their followers and what kind of music they like, and also what kind of music does that influencer give shout outs for on a weekly basis. Because if it's a completely different genre, then it's going to stick out like a sore thumb if they randomly go to a completely different genre for one specific post. And unlike paid ads, for example, the results are incredibly difficult to measure. So what happens in an influencer marketing campaign is you will ask for the stats at the end of the 24-hour period. So an Instagram story has gone up and you will get the stats of how many people viewed it, how many people took action on it. So if you were tagged on the Instagram story, then it will show how many people went to that tag. And when you find that perfect influencer, you need to be able to do something with the audience. So what happens is at the end of your campaign, if you've done an Instagram story shout out and maybe your artist profile has been tagged in the story as well as a swipe up to your track on Spotify, you'll be sent those stats, which is awesome because you can see what you've got for your money. But unlike paid ads on Facebook and Instagram, you can't really do anything with that audience afterwards unless you pay the influencer again. And in my videos, I'm always talking about retargeting ads. And if you haven't seen any of my videos before, then subscribe if you like music marketing content like this one, if you want to see more videos. We upload 3 times a week now. And I absolutely love being able to retarget. I think it's so powerful to have an audience where if you have a release and another release and even have merch or ticket sales, then you can advertise to that audience again and again and again. No matter if they follow you or if they liked your page on Facebook, you know who has gone and listened to your track. And it's very difficult to do that with influencer marketing. The only way I can really think about doing it is using a smart link which has a Facebook pixel installed in it. The reason I don't like this is because when you use a smart link, it is a redirect, and also they have to go to a page where they select where they want to go. So whether it's the YouTube, the Spotify, your profile, and it just doesn't look good. And I imagine a lot of people are going to bounce off that and it's not going to be as effective. So to have a successful influencer marketing campaign, firstly, you do need to find an influencer that fits. And the best possible influencer would be someone who is already a fan of that music, because you probably know that that influencer is going to put a lot of effort into the campaign. You know that the audience is likely going to like your genre, and the influencer will have also potentially given shout outs to tracks in the same genre as you. Therefore, you know it is a perfect fit. And I understand that not all emerging artists have big influencers that are fans of their music. However, if you do that, find that perfect fit, then you know that you're going to get more for your money and a more effective campaign. In order to have a successful influencer marketing campaign, you have to avoid these just pay for posts. And if you're wondering how much it costs for an influencer, it's anywhere between $50 to $4,000 depending on their reach and audience. And don't base it on their followers, base it on how many views they're getting on their stories. Most influencers would be happy to share their figures with you. But these posts, they cost a lot of money, and there are better ways of doing it. The first thing you can do to avoid all of the inauthenticity is to pay the influencer to be an actor in your content, especially on YouTube. If you take a big YouTuber to be an actor and you pay them that way, they don't have to disclose there is an ad because you are using your own audience and not theirs. So I understand what you're thinking. Well, you don't have an audience already, then who's going to see it? But on YouTube, it is amazing because it will match that influencer with all of the influencer's content. So if someone is watching that influencer's YouTube channel and they have 1 million subscribers, then it will come up on the suggested videos, your music video, because the influencer is in it. Just make sure you have the influencer's name in the title somewhere and the description, and then people will watch it just to see what it looks like having that influencer in a music video. One of the most successful implementations I've ever seen of this is with Drax Project, which I'll link down below if you want to see it, because it has a big influencer called Liza Koshy. She started on Vine, went to YouTube, built up millions of subscribers there, and now has her own Netflix show. And all of the comments said, "I'm only here to see Liza." And that broke Drax Project. That got over 10 million views. And she didn't have to disclose that it was an ad. Everyone knew she was paid to be there, but her performance was so good, she took it as a creative project herself and made it her own. So it was done in collaboration, and therefore it reached further because the content within the music video was very similar to her personality and her content as well. So it remained authentic. Another thing you can do to keep things authentic is invite the influencer down to shows. So influencers are always looking for opportunities to make content. They're not just worried about the money, they're more worried about creating the content. And if you can create opportunities for them to create more content, whether it's an Instagram story or YouTube video, then they will build their audience based on that content, and then they'll make more money down the line. So if you can, for example, invite them to a show, put them up in a hotel, send them to a really cool restaurant that they've never been before, and then the show afterwards, then that is content for them they can use. That is even better because it's exclusive. Maybe you manage to get them backstage, and because they get to go backstage, they will tag you in it, they will tag your show, and also people will watch their content because they want to see what happened backstage. So inviting them down to shows or creating experiences for them is more valuable than the money. And on the subject of creating content, the artist can help them create content. The artist can feature in their vlogs. So they create content with them. So people get to discover the artist that way and learn what their personality is about. But the influencer gets to create content around it because the artist has facilitated that. And that could be paid placement. Maybe it's not paid placement because the artist is adding so much value in the first place. And therefore, the content remains authentic and you get all of their audience, but the audience are watching and they are engaged and they trust the influencer to host an artist that is good and their music is worth listening to. So that is the best way to implement an influencer marketing campaign and avoid all the issues you might face on a daily basis trying to create a campaign for yourself. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more music marketing videos like this, subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next video.